Kathy, what does that sign say behind you?
Lake Murray.
Ah,
I'm in Kay Hunky's office
ah.
at Town
Okay.
Hall.
All right, folks, ready to start the meeting? I'm calling the public hearing to order. I'm calling the Irmo public hearing to order to rezone property on ordinance 2023 to rezone property at 10534 Broad River Road from residential single family to commercial general commercial. Is there anybody to speak on that? Anybody speak on the rezoning public hearing? If you're going to speak on it, you have to take your mute off. Okay. Seeing nobody to speak on that public hearing, I will close the public hearing and I will begin the October 6, 2020 Irmo Town Council meeting via Zoom to order. I'd like to start the meeting by the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Councilman Eric Sickinger. You got the flag, Mr. Dennis? There you go.
There it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, I pray for wisdom and your guidance in our decisions tonight and a spirit of cooperativeness and working together to make the town a better place. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. The next line of business is to appoint a new municipal clerk, town clerk and municipal clerk, Ms. Vi Racine. Is there a motion for that appointment?
I so move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Great. All those in favor of the appointment, will the clerk, well, I guess the present clerk is Ms. Renee Cabanis. Will Ms. Renee Cabanis read the roll, please?
She's on vacation.
For the last time.
Go ahead, Vi.
Okay. Ms. Condom,
Aye.
Mr. Bush,
Aye.
Mr. Danielson,
Aye.
and Mr. Sickinger,
Aye.
and Mayor Walker.
Aye. Thank you for your service, Ms.
Hey.
Cabanis. And congratulations, Ms. Racine. You are now
Thank
our
you
new
very much.
town clerk. So we'll be calling on you from here on out.
Yeah.
Reading of the minutes from September 15th, 2020. We have gotten the minutes through electronic means. Is there a motion for acceptance of the minutes from September 15th, 2020?
So moved.
Mr. Sickinger made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bush, second. Are there any changes to the minutes? If not, will the clerk read the roll for acceptance? Ms. Racine.
Thank you. Mr. Bush,
Yay.
Ms. Condom,
Yay.
Mr. Danielson,
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yay.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. The minutes for the special meeting on September 23rd, 2020 has been sent to us electronically. Is there a motion for acceptance of the minutes from September 23rd, 2020?
So moved.
Mr. Sickinger made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bush? Are there any changes to those minutes? Seeing none, Ms. Racine, will you read the roll?
Mr. Bush,
Yay.
Ms. Condon,
Yay.
Mr. Danielson,
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yay.
Mayor Walker.
Yay. Great, thank you. A report of standing administrative briefing. Mr. Brown, do you have any changes for us?
No, sir, I don't.
Great. Are there any changes for Mr. Brown in the administrative briefing? Do we have any changes for Mr. Brown? Seeing none? Great. Amendments to the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Were we going to have one, Bill?
Yes,
Were you going to make an amendment to the agenda?
yeah, we just, that we will go into executive session for personnel.
Okay, you'd like to add an executive session for a personnel, I guess, medical matter or something? Is that?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
I second that.
So we'd like to add an amendment to the agenda. We'd like to add an amendment to the agenda under executive session. We'd like to add a personnel matter for a medical issue. Is there a, well, Mr. Danielson made a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Condom second. Is there any discussion? No discussion? Will the clerk read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush,
Yay.
Ms. Condon,
Yay.
Mr. Danielson,
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yay.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. Okay, great. We have now added an executive session for a medical personnel matter. Thank you. Consideration of communications. We'd like to recognize Adair Piano as the October Small Business of the Month. Council, is there any objection to that? Is Mr. Adair online? I don't see him. We will give him his plaque at another date, I guess. I don't see him online, so I don't know if he's a part of the Zoom meeting tonight.
Kelly, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, I can. If I could have the mic for just a second. Yeah, so Mr. Adair has been hospitalized, and he won't be joining this evening as much as he would like to. And in consideration of his condition, I took the plaque to Mr. Adair at the hospital and allowed him to see it on Monday morning.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Bush. I didn't know that. Okay.
Okay,
So
thanks.
it has been delivered to him.
It has, and it brought a huge smile to his face. He was really very, very thankful that the town considered him that way, and the chamber and all the people involved.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bush. I appreciate you for listening in on that.
Well,
Any other communications? I have one. As you know, we've had several town movies in the park, and I would like to continue that. I believe Kirk Luther is online from the events committee. I'd like to make a statement that this year, with Corona going on and me being a survivor of the coronavirus, I would like to make sure that the town is aware that trick-or-treating door to door is not something we should do. It's just flat out dangerous. I think that we should discourage it. I'm not saying we should have a policy against it as far as a town ordinance or a mandate, but I would highly discourage door-to-door trick-or-treating this year. So in lieu of that, I'd like to mention that there are two businesses in town. In fact, the Steve Paget Honda is going to hold a trunk or treat event from 4 to 6 p.m. And that's free to the town, Irmo. I would encourage people to dress kids up and go to that event. Of course, socially distance, wear your mask, wear the costumes, and then take part of that trunk or treat event at Steve Paget Honda, as well as I would like the events committee to consider, or I'll let Kirk fill us in, but do a Halloween movie at the Anchor Lanes parking lot, and also encourage trick-or-treating at the Anchor Lanes drive-in movie event. Mr. Luther, if you will you fill us in on that?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Mayor, Council. Congratulations, Bye. Halloween evening, Saturday evening. I know that's going to be kind of crazy for trick-or-treaters. I don't know if the town, you kind of made a statement, you don't want to make an ordinance against having trick-or-treat, but the movie would probably generally start around 8 o'clock. We'd like to have it at Anchor Lanes with the huge screen that they brought to Steve Paget. It really makes it a drive-in movie atmosphere. And the lights go off at Anchor Lanes. The problem we had with Steve Paget at our last one was that all the parking lots stayed on. So we kind of lost the ambiance a little bit. But we like to show the movie Hocus Pocus. And we'd also like to put out bags of candy and encourage the participants to dress in costume if they like to when they came to the show. I'm asking the town if they would be willing to put the bill for the movie. And I can present a budget. I have a number in my head already, if you'd like to know that number. But I think it'd be a good thing since Halloween is going to kind of be crazy for the kids this year, as everything else has.
And of course, we will take precautions as far as social distancing and wearing of the mask and making sure that we're protecting the trick-or-treaters from as much COVID as we possibly can. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. The last event came off without a hitch. We did have one person show up that we knew was infected. We had to chase them out of there. So, but it all worked out just fine.
Fantastic. Well, we're not taking votes here, but council, if there's any object about that, please let us know by the next meeting.
I can answer any questions you might have at this moment if you'd like to.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have that ballpark number?
I do. I'm looking at around $2,500.
All right.
Huge screen is $1,600. But it is huge and it is exciting. And I figured with the other peripherals, which involve the digital and the digital setup, plus some of the actual movie and the licensing and the parking people, and then buying some candy. Candy won't be all that expensive, but I do think we ought to have something for them. And if the town is willing, I think that we can pull this off and make a real nice event for the town. I think we do have a anonymous donor that will contribute to an extent. I'd have to make that phone call, but I think they would be okay with a portion of that if the town so sees.
Excellent.
Any more questions for Mr. Luther? Okay. Seeing none, here's a portion of the meeting where you citizens can make comments on our upcoming action items on our agenda. Are there any citizens that would like to make a comment on the things that are on the agenda that we're about to discuss and vote on? If you will, unmute yourself, announce who you are, and then please make your comment. Are there any citizens wanting to make presentations on agenda items?
I would like to. My name is Mark
Okay,
Kilburn.
who is I and
Mark Kilburn.
Mark Kilburn. Okay, where do you live at, Mark?
I live in Irmo, Glen Eagle Circle.
Fantastic, Mark. Go ahead with your comment.
I would like to ask that you do not renew the the emergency mask ordinance. I think that it's time to get away from that. From my perspective, the virus is going to do what it's going to do. There's not much we can do about it. The masks really aren't effective. I can't find any proof that says that it is effective, or any studies that don't. And I mean, right now we're like 214 days into the 15 days of flattening the curve. So the mandates on masks don't really prevent the spread in the community. And I think it's just creating a lot of fear amongst people. And that's basically it. I would request that you do not extend it for another 30 days.
Okay.
Thank you.
I thank you, Mark. Are there any other citizens that would like to address council on agenda items? Unmute yourself and identify who you might be. Any other citizens? Okay, great. We'll move on then. Unfinished business. Approval to extend the emergency orders 2015, the Irmo mass ordinance, for an additional 30 days ending on November 3rd. I'll make that motion to extend it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Sickinger seconded. I appreciate the comments from Mark, Kay, and all the other citizens that are against and for the mask ordinance. But I'm talking from experience, having just recovered from a bout with COVID-19. I can tell you that my experience was caught from my wife, who was first diagnosed with COVID. We social distance in our home, but I found out that this virus is a airborne virus. it's spread by, not so much by touch, but by the actual breath. When you breathe out, you spread those germs across the environment. So even though my wife and I were socially distanced, she was living upstairs and I was living downstairs, I ran across her germs, if you will, because I didn't have my mask on in my house. And then I subsequently caught the virus and was down for 2 weeks. Corona is no joke. With all of my pre-existing conditions and all of my medical conditions going on, I made it through. And that's because I have a great doctor team. I had a great dialysis team that knew what to do to give me extra vitamins so I could fight it off. But the mask that we use outside of our house prevented me from catching it from outside. And I'm convinced that that's what did it. But unfortunately, in my own home, because I didn't wear my mask in my home, I caught it. So it falls on deaf ears to me as the mayor when somebody tells me that the masks don't work. I am convinced that if I wore, when my wife got diagnosed with COVID-19, if I'd have wore my mask in my house, I would not have gotten the infection that she had spewed out through her, if you will, her breath. But I didn't do it in my home. And subsequently, I became infected and was down for 2 weeks. I'm convinced that by us doing what we're doing, we're not telling people, look, we're not telling people that it's something that's going to prevent you from getting sick, but it's something that will prevent you from transmitting the germs from you to other people and from other people to you. I am a living example of that. So I strongly, I know that we talked about not mandating that the restaurants continue to operate at 50% capacity, but the governor, has already lifted that. Restaurants can operate at 100% capacity. But you as a citizen need to make a decision. When you go into an establishment, a restaurant, a bar, even when you go into Home Depot, if it's too many people in there not wearing masks, you need to make a decision to not go in that business. Or if there's too many people in there and they're wearing masks and you don't feel comfortable, make that decision not to go into that restaurant, bar, or grocery store. But that's a decision you have to make as a citizen. But what we're telling you is that in our town, in Irmo, we are asking you through ordinance not to disregard that, to wear a mask, to protect yourself and protect us, your neighbors, from the spread of the virus. And I think we've done a great job outside of our own homes. Again, I am a living example. I didn't wear a mask in my house. I got the virus from my wife, and luckily, I was only down for a couple of weeks, but it's real, folks. It is real. I could have had a bad strain. I could have went into the hospital and had more. Mr. Sickinger, do you have any comments?
I don't know how much more I could add in addition to what you had to say, Mayor, but I am in favor. And from the Cleveland Clinic to the Mayo Clinic to the White House, they recognize that masks are effective in reducing community spread. And unfortunately, we've seen some national political examples where folks decided not to wear masks and a number of people were infected. I want to see a healthy Irmo next month and the following month and next year. And this is certainly one of the ways to do it.
Okay, Mr. Danielson.
Certainly glad you and your wife are healthy, Barry. Glad you
Thank-
recovered. Very glad you recovered.
Thank you.
And, but my position is unchanged. It's unenforceable. I kind of believe in the argument you just said, how you closed your argument. It's my decision as someone who lives in Irmo. If I go into a restaurant and they're not wearing masks, then I'm not going in. Yeah, I don't want to take that decision away from the citizens. So although leaving the argument whether the masks work or don't work, if they do and they diminish it, that's great. But I'm not going to be the one to take that decision away from individuals and business owners to wear a mask or not wear a mask. It's as simple as that. So my position hasn't changed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Danielson. Ms. Condon.
I really agree with Mr. Danielson, but after you had it, Mayor, and because my husband and I are both in the age group where we're very susceptible, that if we get it, we would die. I think we ought to take all precautions. And I don't think it's a political decision. I think it's a medical decision, but I'd be in favor of the mask.
Okay, and Mr. Bush.
Yeah, I mostly agree with Mr. Danielson. However, I think at this point in the COVID virus timeline that I think our citizens in the town, I have all the confidence in the world that they have educated themselves throughout this period of time, and that our mask ordinance that we continue to extend is kind of a hollow ordinance. And I'm not in support of having a hollow ordinance that, really isn't effective. I think people have already made the decision on wearing masks or not wearing masks. I fully support wearing masks. I just don't support having to mandate it with a hollow mandate that's unenforceable. So I'm with Bill on this one. Thanks.
Okay, I thank you. Any more comments? Anybody else to follow up? Ms. Vi, would you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush,
No.
Ms. Condon,
Yes,
Mr. Danielson.
No.
I'm sorry,
No.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. I thank y'all. Third and final reading of ordinance 2020 to rezone property adjacent to South Carolina 60. This is the John and Ellen Adair property. They want to go from neighborhood commercial to general commercial. Is there a motion for third and final reading?
So moved.
I'm sorry, who was that?
I
Eric?
second Eric.
Okay, Eric made the motion and Ms. Condon second. Discussion. Eric,
No, nothing. I'm in favor.
okay. Ms. Condon,
It's a perfect setup for Medical Row. It's next to Walgreens. There are two other doctor's offices on just right down the block. I can't think of a better neighbor. And we need all the doctors we can get, so I'm in favor.
all right, Mr. Bush,
I'll yield my time. I think we've pretty much discussed this in the first two, so I'm in support of it.
Mr. Danielson,
All for a vote, Mr. Mayor.
okay. All right, well, Ms. Racine, will you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush,
Yay.
Ms. Condon,
Yes,
Mr. Danielson,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. Thank you very much. Third and final reading of ordinance 2021 to increase the property registration fee from $50 to $150 and increase the non-penalty for payment from $100 to $500. Is there a motion for third and final reading?
So moved.
Mr. Sickinger made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Danielson seconded. Mr. Sickinger, is there comments?
No additional comments. I'm in favor.
Mr. Danielson,
No additional. We beat it to death last time, so.
Mr. Bush,
Same.
all right, and Ms. Condon.
I'm for it.
All right, fantastic. Ms. Racine, will you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Condom,
Yes.
Mr. Danielson,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. Thank you. Third and final reading of ordinance 2022 to amend the Irmo Town Code to remove jail time from certain sections of the unsightly, unsanitary conditions. Is there a motion for third and final reading?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
Mr. Danielson made the motion and Mr. Sickinger seconded. Mr. Danielson, is there any comments?
Again, same conversation we had at the last meeting. Just not big on jail time, so that's about all I have to say.
Mr. Sickinger,
Same as Councilman Danielson.
okay, Mr. Bush,
I think this has been thoroughly debated, so I'm ready to move along.
all right, Mrs. Condon,
I'm with them.
okay, and, I've made my points that I was not thoroughly excited about us not having a penalty for not following those unsightly conditions. I voted against it the first two times, but I'm ready to vote now. Ms. Racine, would you
Mr.
read-
Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Condom,
Yes.
Mr. Danielson,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. Okay. Thank you all very much. New business. This is the first reading of ordinance 2023 to rezone 10534 Broad River Road as shown on the map from single-family residential to general commercial. This is property held by Miss Vicki Townsend. I believe it's next to a general commercial property on Broad River Road. Is there a motion for first reading? The motion for first reading.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who made that motion? I'm sorry.
I did, but somebody else did too.
I seconded.
Okay, Ms. Condon made the motion and Mr. Sickinger seconded. All right, is there discussion on that? Ms. Condon?
I think it's in the right place to be commercial. I drove by it briefly and I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna do it again to make sure we're not making a mistake, but it appears to be a good commercial property.
Okay, Mr. Sickinger?
Yeah, I haven't heard any feedback from any residents. But it certainly is right on that strip on Broad River that would make sense to be commercial.
All right, Mr. Bush?
It looks like it makes sense to me. Does anybody on staff know if there's already a proposed type of use for that, or is it just a rezoning?
It's just rezoning right now, Mr. Bush. I haven't heard anything about what would be a possibility of being built there yet.
Thanks.
Mr. Danielson?
I agree with everybody. Looks like it
Okay.
should be commercial.
Okay. Well, Ms. Racine, will you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Condom,
Yes.
Mr. Danielson,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. Thank you. This is item B, approval to award the Greater Irmo Chamber of Commerce $10,000. This is a budget item that was in our budget for fiscal year 2021. Is there a motion for approval?
I move.
Mr. Danielson made a motion. Is there a second?
That's second.
Mr. Danielson made a motion and Ms. Condon second. Mr. Danielson, any comments?
Yeah, the chamber is probably our best partner. It works in complete concert with our town. For years and years, this money was given to them to develop the Welcome Center and assist them. And actually, the money could go in their administrative pot. And then there were some years there that certain leadership had fallings out with other certain leadership. Those days are long gone. I think they're a first touch for a lot of people that are going to move into this community. And they're a first touch for a lot of small businesses who are looking to open businesses here in Irmo. So to me, it's a no-brainer.
Right? Ms. Condon.
The chamber is a small business, and like all the others, they all have financial difficulties right now. And they are our friend. They have been our friend for as long as I can remember. And I know they need this money to continue their good work. And they do good work. I mean, they take more calls about this town than we do here at Town Hall, probably. So I think they're deserving of it.
Mr. Sickinger.
Yeah, I'm in favor of getting back to where we were with the chamber before we stopped being coordinative and collaborative with them.
Mr. Bush.
We love our Irmo Chamber. After all, it's called the Irmo Chamber. I like to, Bill said it well, Eric and Kathy. I think with the pandemic and the business disruptions, I think that the chamber is going to be able to utilize this money because they've got a long road to hoe, basically, and I think this would be helpful. That's all I've got.
Cool. And I'd like to add this, that we are building relationships with a lot of people. We've already allocated almost $11,000 plus to the chamber to do marketing for us. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but they have their new book out, the new Welcome Center book, and Irmo is featured all in that book. It's I think we got copies at Town Hall. Do we get a box yet, Bob? Box of those Irmo.
Here, I haven't seen it yet, Barry.
Oh, okay. Well, they're gonna bring some over to us. I urge y'all, council and the public, to go by Town Hall and pick up a copy, or go to the chamber and pick up a copy. That has a lot of good information about the services in town, and that's something we're gonna send out. That's something that the chamber is gonna use for marketing, send out to other people in other areas to bring them to our town. So I am very, very happy to approve this. Ms. Racine, would you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Condon,
Yes.
Mr. Danielson,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. Fantastic. Thank you. All right. This is a very, very important relationship between the Richland County Recreation Commission and the town of Irmo. The approval of a memorandum of agreement between the Richland County Council Recreation Commission and the town of Irmo to basically convert the Dutch Fork Tennis Complex located off Friarsgate Boulevard, which is in the heart of Friarsgate, almost 9+ acres, to give to the town to develop into a dog park / community garden. we've had 2 organizations come to us and express an interest in doing just that, building a community garden as well as building a dog park. Now, certainly we don't need a 10-acre community garden or a 10-acre dog park, but when we have control of it to develop it the way we see fit, there's other things we can do besides those things. But right now, I would like to make that motion to approve the memo that we have received electronically with the Richland County Council to develop that relationship so we can take over and control development of that 9+ acres in Friarsgate. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Sickinger seconded. Mr. Sickinger, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I am super excited about this. It's something that I think during the campaign, it was something I was thinking about. And it's right there, smack dab in Friarsgate. And gosh, just the opportunity for us to take over, to essentially lease, take over responsibility of that is really exciting to me. And I'm just looking forward to the community involvement in that area.
Hey, Mr. Danielson.
I think it's a great idea. I have a couple of concerns. I'm fully behind it, I'm pretty sure that I've heard that we can, maybe we have a couple ladies in here today, tonight at the meeting that are going to step up and do this conversion. So I'm always concerned about cost, what's going to cost us to do that. And I would also like to hear from Chief Dennis, how he feels about it and what he thinks that may bring or not bring as far as working out from a safety and policing situation. But I think it's a great idea. I want to take my dog to a dog park. I can't take them anywhere. So I love the idea. Just want to make sure we know what we're doing here.
Okay. Mr. Bush.
Super excited. I don't have as many reservations. This is the community owns this land. It's county land, and I will be excited to see the mothballs raked away and the caution tape come down in this land. Let the citizens put this land to use. And as well as Chief Dennis, it would be good to get input from Mr. Klein as well, because I would assume he's going to be out there from time to time having to do some things. So anyway, in full support. So.
All right, Ms. Condon. Ms. Condon.
Our last meeting at the, that we had in person, there were several ladies there, as I recall, interested in the gardening, the community gardening aspect. Now, I don't know, and I have to ask Mr. Klein whether we can provide sprinklers, or they bring their own sprinklers, or is there water there? I don't know, but I think that's a wonderful idea. But if you know, Mr. Klein, tell me, is there water there?
There's no water available at this time, to my knowledge.
Okay. Well, that's a drawback, but
I'm sure we can work it out. I mean, we worked out water for the Quail Valley folks.
yeah.
We can do it again. Chief Dennis, presently we patrol that area now, being in heart of Friarsgate. If there's something going on, do you foresee any additional issues?
No, I mean, it's part of our patrol route as it is. In fact, with it not being occupied with any kind of purpose, it's attracting more people to just linger around with no purpose. So depending on what the council decides to make it as a project, could have some limitations, but it is part of our patrol route. We keep an eye on it as it is.
Got it. Well, I thank you. I can tell you that there are several, like you said, several ladies from the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, as well as our community, who are interested in doing a community garden. And there's several people that wanted to do a doggy park and develop that. And I think we can find some grants. We'll put Ms. Cavaness on that to look for some grants that we can possibly use to develop a park. But for us to get 9.9 acres, control of 9.9 acres downtown in the smack dab middle of Irmo, not downtown Irmo, but in the middle of Irmo, to develop it something that we can use, like Councilman Bush said, take the caution tape down and make it look like something we're usable. We have 10 acres to do something with. I'm sure we won't use 10 acres for a dog park or 10 acres for a community garden, but we can do other things over there. It's under our control. I'm excited about it. Ms. Racine, will you read the roll?
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Condon,
Yes,
Mr. Danielson,
Yes,
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. I'd like to add, if anybody is on the Zoom meeting right now that is a part of those groups that would like to develop that community park, community garden, or the dog park, I would advise, please reach out to me or reach out to Bob Brown, and let's put together a meeting to kind of coordinate what we have to do to make it a reality. And I appreciate y'all volunteering to work on those projects. Item D, approval to change October 20th, our regularly scheduled meeting, to a workshop meeting. We next year we passed the ordinance that we will have one council meeting a month, and the third council meeting that we normally have will become our regular council meeting. The first council meeting will be our workshop. At the workshop, we'll discuss a lot of things that we'd like to be working on, invite people to come to those meetings to discuss specific items. So we'd like to start that process on the October 20th meeting, regularly scheduled meeting, convert that from a regular council meeting and have it as a workshop. Is there a motion for approval?
so
Yes.
moved.
I'll second.
Ms. Condon made the motion and Mr. Bush second. Ms. Condon.
I think it's a wonderful idea. When we met on retreat and discussed it, I thought this is something we should have done long ago. It's something that would help our communication with each other, with the town, make us more conversant on the issues. I just think it's an excellent idea.
Okay. Mr. Bush.
Yeah, I agree. I think we get a lot more done in an open forum. And then passing these ordinances becomes a kind of, it's a formality, but we have a, kind of a impromptu open to the public workshop where we can actually get ideas going. For example, that just this tennis court was an idea, right? Trying to hit Richland County and find out if we could, get access to it. Those are the things that came out of workshops. So I think we accomplished a lot in the workshop. So I'll yield my time.
Mr. Sickinger.
Yeah, I echo what the other counselors have had to say, and I'm in favor.
Mr. Danielson.
yes, I'm 100% behind this for a couple of reasons. One, at least I want to be more transparent with our constituents so they can actually see how we can hash some of this stuff out, where really it's about, unlike our federal government today, we don't want to ever be that way. We want to be able to let our constituents and citizens see that how we feel, what we're doing, how we're talking about it, and how we all make decisions to do the right things and how we work together. So plus the three votes is, the three readings is just onerous at best.
Yes, thank you. And I'd like to add that we are a very progressive council. I'm very proud of working with everybody on council. We can work things out in 2 readings. We can work things out at these workshops. We're talking about getting into some very heavy stuff, like for instance, the blue granite issue. We're talking about looking at how we can acquire the blue granite system. We're looking at trying to figure out how can we do something that will help the citizens as far as having a better quality of life. And we can do that at the workshops. We can invite people to subject matter experts to those meetings and have frank discussions. At the same time, we can continue doing our business. So I'm ready for a vote. Is there a motion? Not a motion, I'm sorry. Well, Mr. Racine, will you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Condon,
Yes.
Mr. Danielson,
Yes.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes. Okay. Item E, the contract with Sister Hazel. The contract with Sister Hazel for 2021 Ochre Strut. We all got a copy of the contract electronically. And is there a motion for approval? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay. Ms. Khan made the motion. Ms. Khan second. Mr. Moore, are you there?
I am here. I was afraid that my phone was getting ready to die. The plug wasn't working, but I am definitely here. Yeah.
Okay, great. I wanted to there's certain things in the contract that I wanted us to be aware of. And again, I don't have a problem with the intent of the contract of they've already agreed that the down payment we gave them, $10,000, they're willing to apply that to next year's concert, which is great. But I don't want to get in a situation where we're in this year where we're worried about losing the 10,000 and then possibly having to pay them an additional 20,000 if for some reason next August 2021 COVID is still rampant. We're forced to re-cancel the 2021 Ochre Strut. I don't want to get in a situation where we can't cancel the contract. And that language is not clear enough for me in the present contract that I received. On page 34, 34 out of page 40, the force majeure and the inclement weather terms and conditions are struck out of the contract. Also on that page, it says that the purchaser agrees to give 180-day notice prior to the engagement if they wanted to cancel. I would like to see that change to 30 days because that's when we canceled the Ochre Strut this year without any penalty or without any force or penalty. But if you go on down further in the contract, on page 27 and 28, the force majeure and artist cancellation is in the contract. It hasn't been canceled out. So my question to you, Attorney Moore, which one are we agreeing to?
I don't know.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Let me expound upon that. My understanding is that we know what we want the contract to say. Does the contract clearly say what we want it to say? The answer to that question is no. Now, my understanding is whoever was the contact person with the band was in the process of securing an agreement which would provide that we could in fact cancel up to 30 days. Now, if we have that, then it needs to be clearly added in writing to the contract. If what you want is that, and we don't have an agreement to that effect, then whoever is negotiating this contract should negotiate those terms. We should prepare a written amendment that clearly indicates that's what the deal is, and then it should be signed. As of right now, I cannot look at that agreement and tell you that you can cancel within 30 days. The document does have language that says if you're going to cancel, you got to do it 180 days in advance. Then you have one section crossed out and not the other. I do not know who the person is that is negotiating this contract on our behalf. My recommendation would be that the council instruct whoever that person is to make contact with the band, get a clarification of the point, and place it in writing. I did not negotiate that contract. I have no idea who to talk to. This is the same advice.
Bob, is the person negotiating, is that you or Larry?
That's Larry. I had nothing to do with this.
No problem. Larry, are you online?
I am.
Cool. Okay. You heard the conversation, Larry, and I won't cut you off, Ms. Condom. I just wanted to get that point straight before I call on you, please. Larry, you heard the conversation. You understand what I'm asking about and what I'm asking for?
I understand what you said, but I'm unclear. What I was asked to do was to get this contract back and transferred to 2021, which is what I've done. These were the terms that were agreed to in 2019, and they've agreed to move it to the 2021 festival. The cancellation clause is a cancellation clause for the band to give notice to cancel. That was in the original contract at 30 days. We negotiated that to be, they had to give us 180 days. It was not an agreement that we could cancel. Never has been. It's fairly common in these big bands. They put in something that if they get, I don't know, they get, #1 hit record or something, and they're able to go on the Tonight Show that night live or whatever, they have the ability to give us some terms of cancellation. But we negotiated out that they could do that 30 days out. We negotiated to push that. They'd have to give us at least 180 days before doing that. Again, that's all the contract from a year ago.
Right. So, well, that's my wish is that we can have a 30-day out for the town. Ms. Condom, do you have any comments?
I appreciate the fact that they let the 10,000 ride till next year. They didn't have to do that. And right. I fully expected to lose that 10,000. And I guess 30 days is not really, to have them on the line for almost 2 years. 30 days is kind of a broad, maybe 90 days or 100, something else. I hate, since they've been nice or, obliging, I hate to say that we could cancel it all after 2 years of us stringing them along. Now, but that, that doesn't mean that we won't have some other type of national emergency. And if that happens, that's a whole different thing. But
I guess that's what my point is, Ms. Condom, is that we canceled the orchestra in August, okay? So by doing that, we were at the mercy of the band that they wouldn't come after us for the other 10,000.
Yeah.
But we were told, and Larry negotiated for us, we were going to apply it, the 10,000 we paid them as a down payment to next year's orchestra, which I understand. And I'm glad they did that. But I don't want to get into a situation next August if, God forbid, we're still in the COVID-19 problem and we can't have an orchestra for 2021, that we're back in the same situation that we can't cancel the contract, let them keep the 10,000 we gave them and go ahead and move forward without any more expenditure. that's the language I'm trying to get to.
May I make a recommendation to you, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
We are in the process of trying to negotiate this with ourselves. What they might do, what they will do. Somebody on behalf of the town needs to express to the band our concern and see what can be negotiated in regard to a cancellation term for us in this contract.
That's a good idea.
Can I make a motion at this point?
Just 1 second, Mr. Bush. Mr. Sickinger, do you have any comment? You've been kind of quiet over there.
Yeah, so did we already sign the contract?
No, not yet.
So when they agreed, but we signed the contract for them to come last time, right?
Last year, right.
And when they agreed to roll over the deposit that we paid them, what were the terms of rolling that over?
That's a Larry Slaughter question. Was there any
Larry?
terms?
Right. I was asked by council to get them to roll over. This is exactly the same terms that we had for 19. So essentially what you're asking them to do is essentially to give us the money back, when instead what we went to and asked them to roll it to 2021. Asking, again, we've already done this. I've gone to them with what you asked me to do and they've agreed to it.
Thank you, Mr. Slaughter. So with that in mind, I'm in favor of moving forward as we previously had already contracted with them. And it's the same terms as the previous contract.
Mr. Danielson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. The more I hear and read about this contract and review it, and what we're going through, and I just want to make sure that this is really what we want to do. I'm not convinced that we can't get our 10 grand back and given the COVID situation and play hardball with these guys. We can make that part of this, if you want to use that to negotiate this 30-day out, maybe you go that route. And I'm pretty sure that our attorney last time we met said he wasn't convinced that we wouldn't necessarily get the 10 grand back. We just haven't tried it. So I want to make sure that this is what we want to do. And I'll kind of go with the flow, but I just think we need to think about that.
I understand. And I don't think we're asking for the 10 grand back right now. All we're asking for is keep the 10,000 we already gave you as a deposit. If by next August, we, for some godforsaken reason, act of God, government shuts down the state again, we can't have our festival, that we can cancel the contract, cancel it, and not have to pay any more money. Mr. Bush, you wanted to make a comment on a motion?
Yeah, I'm in favor of it as is, but it feels to me like if we need to do more contract negotiations, it might be a little premature to have an approval of Sister Hazel contract on the agenda for tonight. And I would motion that we defer it and hack this out, in a workshop or something. But I mean, I don't think having contract negotiations in this format is probably beneficial.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So you making that motion to defer this until the workshop?
I'm making a motion to defer it until we have a firm contract agreement to approve. I'm in favor of it as is, but it sounds like to me where it's going to be a toss up. And, if that's the case, then probably somebody needs to get on the horn and find out, how flexible. I want to say just that this band has been exceptionally generous by transferring that $10,000 to next year. The way I read that contract is they can basically take the $10,000 and demand the remainder, even if we cancel. And so by moving it to next year, it saved the towns roughly $20,000. That's pretty generous.
But they can still do the same thing next year. What I'm saying,
Absolutely.
I like the language in there that says that we can cancel without having to pay any more expense. And that's what we have to find out from, I guess, the negotiator, who is Mr. Slaughter, Larry Slaughter. Would the band contract be amenable to that? Again, there's two sections in here, one where the force majeure was crossed out, and another section where it is in the contract. That's a conflict to me right there, but.
Mr. Mayor, can I address that?
Please do.
Yeah, the reason it's like that is because they had the two force majeure clauses in the contract. So when we negotiated it the first time, we struck one of them. It was a bad contract to have two force majeures with slightly different wording in them. So if you'll notice notice in your contract, it says right above in the I'm trying to think of the language. It says in standard terms and conditions. So we struck one of them and left one in there for sake of clarity in the contract.
Okay.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, in the original contract, it had the same crossed out force majeure. So
exactly. And the same phrase above it. Matter of fact, that everything except the first two pages of the contract is really just a cut and paste from the prior year.
If I still have the floor, I was just wondering, I made a motion to defer. I don't know if there's going to be a second for that.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Bush made a motion to defer this until when? The next meeting or the next workshop, Mr. Bush?
Larry, is there a deadline on getting this approved?
They have not expressed one. Again, you've got an agreement that a contract that they've indicated that they agreed to in writing, said they would agree to. So, the ball's just in our court to sign it. They did not give us a deadline.
Okay.
So let's give a deadline then to the workshop on the 20th. We'll negotiate that between now and the workshop on the 20th. Is that enough time? Is that enough time?
We'll have to defer it until November 17th. You can't make any action items during the workshop.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
What you ought to do is to defer it and ask Larry to go back to them and try to get a clarification and agreement on the point in the meantime.
Doesn't look to me that Larry's real excited about doing that.
I'm just not sure that I understand what I'm. It seems clear to me there is no cancellation clause. So it seems to me what you're asking me to do is to go back and ask if they will add a 30-day cancellation clause at the option of the town only. Is that what I'm understanding?
Larry, I think that would provide that if we exercise that clause, they can keep the $10,000.
Okay.
Is my understanding.
So an option to forfeit the deposit and with 30 days notice, is that?
Yes.
Right.
I think that's what they want.
Okay.
You're probably going to need some details about what would be allowable for a cancellation. I mean, you know what I mean? You can't just wake up in the morning and say, hey, we want to cancel. I think they're going to have caveats with that.
Well, yeah, we have an act of God. If we have another government shutdown, the governor says we can't have outdoor concerts due to Corona or some other virus or whatever. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. We just can't wake up and say, you understand, Larry, what we're saying? If we're put in the same situation again next August, we need to be able to get out of this without having any more money coming out of our coffers.
Gotcha.
They can keep the 10,000 is what I'm saying.
Okay, that's
okay.
I'll propose it to them.
Fantastic, and we can get that done by the 17th, which is our next council meeting, right, Bob? 17th is our next council meeting.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Bush, would you like to amend your motion to defer this until 17th of November?
I would love to do that, Mayor Walker.
Fantastic. Is there a second?
Yes, there is.
Mr. Stickinger's made a second to the motion. All right. Ms. Racine, would you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bush,
Yay.
Ms. Condon,
Yay, reluctantly.
On the motion.
Mr. Danielson,
Yay.
Mr. Sickinger,
Yay.
Mayor Walker.
Yes, yeah. I thank you very much. Larry, if you have any questions, give us a call, give me a call, give Bob a call. But we're looking at trying to get this sold up by the 17th.
I
Okay,
got you. Thank you, sir.
thank y'all. All right, here's a portion of our meeting that's called presentation by citizens. Are there any citizens that would like to make a comment and or bring something to council that we need to know about? Again, this is presentation by any citizen in town. Also, this is not a personal attack session. No personal attacks will be allowed. And is there anybody who would like to make a comment? Tell us who you are, unmute yourself and tell us who you are. Anybody wants to make a comment?
I do. I would like to, please.
Who's I would like to?
Jada Powell.
Jada Powell.
Would you like my address too?
No, I didn't see your name on the thing. That's why I was wondering who are. All right, Jada. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to know why you, Mr. Walker, are trying to steal my event.
This is not a personal attack.
The trunk of, I'm talking about something that happened today at this meeting. You said kids should not be out there allowed to be trick-or-treating, but yet you want to take my event and have a trunk or treat. Now, I was trying to do the right thing. Actually, you know what? After you got elected, you said, Jada, I promise you, Eric Sickinger was there. I will never take your events from you. Here you are trying to take my events. I tried to do the right thing. I debated on this for months what to do. I tell you what, Barry Walker, you can take my trunk or treat. You'll never get my heart, and you will never take the love that I have for my town. I am not happy with today. That is not okay. That's what I have to say, because I want Irmo to know, all the citizens out there, how hard my team worked hard for this, and you just rip it out from under me.
Miss Jada Powell, we don't do personal attacks here. If there's something that you want to share with the town, we are more than happy to have you share it. But personal attacks is not allowed, and I will not stand for it. If you want to talk to us about something that we will be aware of, nobody's taking something away from anybody. You're more than welcome to do your events. You heard, like I said, we're not trying to promote trick-or-treating door to door because of the COVID virus. We were trying to do something that's more in line with something that's that we can handle as far as COVID friendly. Are there any other people that are willing to or wanting to make a comment?
Mr. Mayor, would you afford me one small comment?
Absolutely, sir. Mr. Moore?
We have a very good friend of this town. Her name is Barbara Wilm. She has been a former chairman of the Chamber of Commerce. She was instrumental in getting the Lexington Hospital to sponsor the money for the Okra Strut. She has been diagnosed with some right serious cancer. She's in not getting a good diagnosis. I would love to see, and I'll pay for it, if the town would simply do something to recognize it. If the town could just get some sort of a gift, a picture, something, frame it and send it to her. I'm happy to pay for it, but just with some sort of a inscription on it to Barbara Wilm with love from the town of Irmo, something. Just my idea. I'll sorry to take up the extra time, but I think it would be something nice for us to do. Again, if the town would authorize it and pick it out and put the inscription on it, I'll pay for it.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm out of order, but I think that's
No,
real.
thank you, Mr. Moore. I wasn't aware of that, and I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. We'll work on something like that. Bob, you got that? Mr. Sickinger, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess as I'm commenting as a citizen, but I did just want to I just announce, because I missed it off the top, that absentee in-person voting did begin yesterday. And if you go to scvotes.gov, you can find your county's polling place and vote absent early in person.
Cool. Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Mr. Mayor, if I could just talk about Breast Cancer Awareness Month for just a moment, some of the things Irmo PD is doing.
Okay, Chief Courtney Dennis, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you'll see some of these on our police cars. These were funded from a donation from Castle Brothers here in town. This is to recognize October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month and our participation in Operation Cure. We also have some patches that we've redesigned with the ribbon and in pink that our officers are wearing this month during October. These patches were also paid for by another business leader, and we are taking donations for those kind of as a commemorative item, and those donations are going to go directly to the American Cancer Society.
Fantastic. And we look pretty good in pink. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'd like to say something if I could, Mayor.
Okay.
Kirk Luther, publisher
Okay.
of the New Irmo News.
Thank you, Mr. Luther. Go right ahead, sir.
I would like to comment on what Mr. Moore just said. The Irmo News is in debt to Lex Med Center and to for all the things that Barbara Whelm has done for us over the years, and anything we can do to help commemorate all the things she has done for the town of Irmo, we would be behind it 100%.
Okay. Again, thank you for the information, Mr. Moore, and I believe we will work on something on the short term. Right, Bob?
Yes, sir. I'll be working on it.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other citizens that would like to make a presentation to the town? Any other citizens? Okay. All right. Well, this is a part of presentation by citizens over. Discussion, we don't have any discussions. We do have an executive session. So at this point, I'm going to ask everybody except for the executive committee to hang on, and we'll put you out in the waiting room, and we will call you back after we get back from executive session. If you'd like to hang on, we would love to have you come back. Again, thank you for give me a second.
Mayor, are you throwing people into the waiting room one at a time?
I had no choice, but that's what I'm doing.
There's got to be an easier way.
Look, I just learned how to use this last week, okay? Not that many people, so we can handle it. Who's town iPad?
Bob,
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right.
That's me. So it looks like we got everybody but Jake.
but we're still streaming on YouTube.
Chemical, are we streaming?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell you, Mr. Mayor. If we want this to be private, then we need to actually have the council go into a breakout room.
Oh, okay. I thought we could just put everybody out. Create a breakout room then.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Thank you, Mr. Sickinger.
Hey, you know me.
Technology, man. So we need Jake back in?
we
Well,
should.
not for any decision, but if you want him on there, you know.
Yeah, we can bring Jake back in.
Jake, are you there?
Hey,
Yeah. Okay, I got him. Okay.
are we supposed to do a vote in public to go into executive session or no?
We voted on the amendment to the agenda already to go into executive session.
Well, we voted on the amendment. Did we vote on going into?
No, you still have to vote to go into it.
Okay, so Chemical.
Let me, sorry, I had to unmute. Yes.
All right, we're still streaming, right?
Yes. So I'm just adding.
I
So
want
I
to
have
make a motion. I want to make a motion to go into executive session.
Yeah, I'll second.
Well, I think, do we need to include the public that was zoomed in?
No,
Or
we're live streaming.
We're live on YouTube.
Okay.
We're live on YouTube. I make a motion to go into executive session.
I second.
For a personal medical matter. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Sickinger seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, Mr. Chemical, go ahead and turn off the live streaming and create us a breakout room, please.
Okay, I'm doing that
Or you
right
can leave
now.
the live streaming on and create a breakout room.
Yeah, what I'll do, let me just create the breakout rooms now.
Right, thank you.
What are you, coding one?
And I thank the public for dealing with this technology.
Okay.
MSNBC.
That's our minutes.
But I mean, are you watching MSNBC? Is that what it is?
Okay, breakout room's been created. I'm joined.
Bob, can you hear me? They don't want me in there, do they?
I can hear you, Jake.
They don't want me in there, do they?
I mean, I don't know if they want it. I mean, there's no decision, no legal matter. It's a personnel matter, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll invite you.
No, I mean, I don't, believe me, I'm getting ready to start eating supper. So, if they don't want me, that suits me just fine.
No,
I
go
think,
ahead.
I think I know what it is. So, it doesn't really involve me, does it?
No, I'll let you know.
Hey,
Okay.
Bob,
Okay.
Jake, I'm about to add you guys to the room.
Okay.
Well, I guess we're going in. Okay.
Bob, your town iPad is. And then Jake, you are iPhone. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Kimiko. 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 Kimiko, we're back.
We're not all back anyway.
We're not all back yet.
We're still waiting on.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I
Misconduct.
was on mute, but yeah, everybody's coming back. I've closed the room, so they should be coming back.
Okay, so everybody's out of the not the breakout room, but out of the waiting room.
Yes, everyone's out of the waiting room, and you
Okay,
guys are
great.
back in the meeting.
All right, thank you, Kimiko.
Uh-huh.
All right, we are back from executive session. No votes were taken. Is there any other business at hand? Seeing none, is there a motion for adjournment?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Condom and Mr. Sickinger made a second. All in favor of concluding the meeting, say aye.
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 All opposed? Thank y'all very much for a very productive meeting. We are now officially over. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.